Hello everyone, UK Goosebumps here, back with another video. Today we have Fright Camp from the Series 2000 series. So I'm just going to go quickly over the book. Well, not quickly, but a little brief overview. So this book is about Andrew and Tyler, they're brothers, and they're a big fan of the R.B. Faraday movies, which is a guy who makes horror movies for children, I guess, and he creates a camp for kids so they can go there and experience the movies. And throughout the book, things start to become more scary. I've seen people say it's a mix between Camp Nightmare and One Day at Horrorland, which I do agree with. And they meet people like their fellow campers, like Jack and Chris, I believe their name is, and Meredith and Elizabeth. So what happens throughout this book is the children slowly start to realise, and other kids as well, that maybe the scares are more real than they actually believe. There's another One Day at Horrorland type of thing going on. There's also this place called the Cabin of No Return. I think it's called that anyway. And this book, my only complaint would be it kind of gets a little bit confusing. There's a lot of characters doing a lot of different things that don't always add up to things. Like Meredith and Elizabeth don't play a huge part in the whole thing. They're just kind of side characters to fill in the characters, to add like there's more people. It kind of links in with the ending a little bit. So throughout the book, a lot of things do happen. There's a lot of fake outs in this book, I do have to admit. There's a lot of things that seem real. Oh no, they're not. Oh no, they are. And things like that. But Jack and Chris, a big part is Jack and Chris, they begin spreading sort of rumours and talking about how the camp might be real. And they face consequences. There's this counsellor called Gus, and he kind of snitches on them and tells them and things like that. And they're in cabin number 3. And they're known as like the lucky cabin, because they got the two mischievous people in there, Jack and Chris, who are spreading these things around. And then we also meet this guy called Alonso, I believe his name is. He's like the mad scientist. And they basically find out that they're trying to see how scared children can get before they basically kick the bucket. So yeah, they're kind of like trying to test kids' fear levels and things like that, and that they're actually evil. So they obviously try and ring their parents and things like that. And then Jack and Chris do suffer some consequences. Like, I believe they get electrocuted at one point, they get chips put in their necks to track them or something like that. And the camp basically just becomes a heavily guarded area. There's guards there, they take their shoes away so they can't run away and things like that. And then near the end of the book, after a few more fake outs and things like that, there's a lot of stuff that does happen in this book that I feel like is just unnecessary to say because there's so much of it. But it turns out the entire time, R.B. Faraday was actually filming a movie, and Andrew and Tyler are the main stars of it, because he wanted to get two kids real reactions of actual fear that they would have. And Meredith, Elizabeth, all the other campers, Gus, Alonso, R.B. Faraday himself, and Chris and Jack, they were all actors. So another thing to not It's Only Nightmare, Camp Nightmare. Another link to that, in a way, for the fact that they were all actors in the end. They weren't actually real. Spoiler alert for Camp Nightmare. But yeah. And then not Jack and Chris, my bad. Tyler and Andrew. Well, they're trying to find Jack and Chris, and they're also trying to find, I believe it's either Elizabeth or Meredith. I can't remember which one. They're trying to find them, and they can't find them anywhere. So they're looking around, and R.B. Faraday is like, I'm not filming anymore. This is genuinely odd. So they're looking around and they find one of their swimsuits. They find one of their clothes in the roller coaster or something like that. But there's no one there, so they've just gone missing. So R.B. Faraday's kind of stressing out because he's like, we've stopped filming now. And then they hear shouts from this place called the Cabin of No Return or something, or the Cave of No Return even. The Cave of No Return, I think it's called. The cavern maybe. Yeah. So they go down this cavern, R.B. Faraday, and he says it's not safe and all this. But Tyler and Andrew decide to go down there. And lo and behold, they find the missing campers, which I believe was Jack and Chris, and either Meredith or Elizabeth. And they all jump out on them, and they go surprise. And it turns out they have actually pranked R.B. Faraday by making him believe that they were missing. So it's kind of like a double fake out again. And then the last thing that really pushes it over the edge of these fake outs is that just before the book ends, they can hear bees buzzing. And then R.B. Faraday goes, it's like there's bees that live in these caves, and they actually they're really dangerous bees, and this is their season. So the suggestion is that they get killed by these bees. But just before it ends, it turns out the bees were actually speakers. So it was just sounds of bees or wasps or whatever they were buzzing, and R.B. Faraday actually faked them out again. And then the book ends and they're actually all happy. Like, I'll read you the last line of the book. He grinned down at me, a gleeful, triumphant grin. Are you enjoying Fright Camp, ? He asked. Just think, you have 2 more weeks. So it's actually a happy ending of a Goosebumps book. And it is just a genuine nice camp, where they were just filming a movie without them knowing, I guess, which is a bit odd. But yeah, so enough of me telling you what the book is about. It's a basic overview of it. Spoilers. What did I feel about this book? Well, I actually really enjoyed this book. I think I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars when I read this. The main base of the story about it being in the camp. I love Goosebumps camp stories. I think everyone loves Goosebumps camp stories. They're fun. They're about camp. They're normally set in the summer. They have just a certain feel to them that just makes them really good. So that's already 1 star. Another star was the rides. There were certain in-depth scenes that I didn't go into when I was doing the overview. That they actually went into the rides and interacted with them, and seeing those, that's why it was kind of like One Day at Horrorland. When you actually get to see things like the Doom slide in One Day at Horrorland, you got to see things like the equivalent in Fright Camp, and I really liked seeing just, a different kind of setting, but in a camp. It was great. And then we're going to go on to the fake outs now, because I feel like this is going to be the one that people are going to talk about the most when I do my review on this. Lots of people know I don't like Scream School. Well, a few people know who I know in the community. I don't like Scream School because the fake outs, they got really boring, and then the ending, where it being completely fake the entire time, just ruined it for me. This one I felt had, I guess you could say, purpose to it more than Scream School, for me at least. I enjoyed it more because the fake outs, they lasted throughout the book more and were done in a more comical way, I guess, where it actually made sense. And I think the story was more convincing than the one in Scream School in general. And I like the setting of this more. It wasn't just the fake outs themselves, it was the book overall with the fake outs that I enjoyed more than Scream School. So I just wanted to address that as well. And our 4th star goes to the characters. The characters are great. They were genuinely convincing characters who were great. And I like how they teamed up at the end to kind of prank R.B. Faraday. Elizabeth and Meredith kind of didn't add a whole lot to the story, but I think Jack and Chris did, especially with them getting taken away and supposedly hypnotized in a way to not say anything. That was kind of a whole other section that you could think about as well. But I also like Andrew and Tyler and how they genuinely were scared in this book and how they genuinely weren't part of anything. I did really enjoy that, and that's kind of the Camp Nightmare aspect that I did like. And then finally, the fake out at the end is it's just so silly and unnecessary that I actually think I like that a lot, where it turns out it's just speakers. And then R.B. Faraday, and it just saying, there's 2 more weeks at camp. It's just a happy ending, but it was also, it's a scary camp still. It's not like the camp was, oh, this is a whole fake camp or whatever. They're still going to stay at camp. So that's what I liked about this book. I have to admit, it was quite good. So let me know what you guys think of Fright Camp. I'm going to try and get a nice close-up of the cover here. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of Fright Camp. I rate it 4 out of 5 stars. Let me know your opinions. Thank you guys for watching,